Howdy, partners.
Oh,
It's Western Wednesday. So this is our Western Wednesday choice of this time is Bang the Bullet. You can tell it's a bullet because it's shaped like one.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, tell us more about... Oh, no, before we do that, hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell. We
The
gotta follow.
notification bell.
Well, yeah. But,
Yeah, it's not ringing the bell, it's hitting the button.
yeah, well, they could shoot the button,
They
but
could.
then they probably would lose their computer. 'Cause-
You're right. They might be upset about that.
Yeah.
Might not be a good idea.
All right, so...
All right,
Tell
so
us
Bang
about
the
the game.
Bullet came out in 2007. This plays 3 to 8 people, so it's a good sized party game. BGG rating of 6.9. Now, my obligatory apologies for mispronouncing the game, but this is an Italian game, and I don't know Italian. So, designer is Emiliano Sciarra. Arts, Tony Cittadini, Stefano De Fazzi, Ariadne, and Alessandro Piergiolini. Again, I'm sorry. Published by DB Noki. MSRP is $44.99, but I think this version's out of print. I saw Amazon copies for $34.62, eBay $49.99, but Geek Market had it down as low as $15 and $19.
For this version of it?
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
So, take your pick.
So this version of it contains, I believe, all the expansions that were released up to this point. I don't know if any have come in since then, but they're in a nice little container
That's
that's,
shaped like a bullet if you didn't get
Yeah.
that the first time.
that comes in and you open it up and then it's got storage room for all the different decks. I'm not sure exactly how it goes back in. I got to figure that out because it fit fine when we got it
Is
out.
that a real sheriff's badge in it, Randy?
It is a real plastic sheriff badge for a
Okay.
real plastic sheriff. But yeah, apart from that, I wouldn't try to like arrest anybody or with it because I don't
Might
think
go to
anybody would
jail.
buy it. So as far as the quality of the components, the cards are all linen finished. They're all pretty nice. They're good texture, good thickness for a card, really. Other than that, that's really all you get. It's just a card game. So there's no other components. The container, obviously, it's a metal, so it's actually really nice. The only thing is, it does not fit nicely on your shelf. It's going to take up an odd shape on your shelf, but it looks cool, and it's a conversation piece. And if you find a really big gun, this would actually
Might fit in it.
Might fit into like an artillery.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
pull. So yeah,
And then you get hit with something that says bang on it. That
Yeah.
would be weird.
just make sure you have your miss card. All right, so as far as quality of components, I'm probably going to give this, just from the card quality, because that's really all you can score on, and the container, probably a 7.5 is where I'm at on it. I think it's good quality cards, and the container's pretty cool.
I think I'm going a little bit lower, 7. I think the linen finish is nice, but I don't think the thickness is as nice as you think it is. I think we've had thicker cards, maybe not linen, but thicker cards that you ranked a little bit lower. So it's still good quality. It's just not great. So I think I give it a 7, but I love the 10. It's awesome.
All right, what do you think?
I would say it's about a 7 as well. I mean, the thickness is a little less than what you might see in some of the other card games, especially if you're paying $45 for it. I feel like, that maybe the thickness should be a little higher. But it is a good quality game. It's good quality components as far as the linen finish, and it's just a plastic container. But
No,
This one
one must have been shot out because it's dented
it is
on the
metal.
Yeah, it's
bottom.
metal.
It's an aluminum.
You must have shot this out.
That's right.
It's bent.
It's dented?
It's dented on the bottom.
Oh, that's so
Aluminum.
that
maybe
the
that
forensic
does go up to
scientists
7.
can track and make sure it is this bullet.
That's right.
Maybe it goes up to 7.5 since it is aluminum.
All
For
right.
channeling.
Okay, so moving on to the theme. The theme of this is obviously a Western shootout.
Yeah.
Spaghetti Western.
But it's got roles similar to Werewolf.
Yes, it's similar to Werewolf in that nature, and it does capture the feel of a Western shootout pretty
Kinda
well.
does, yeah.
I mean, as far as thematically, we've had a variety of Westerns that we've played, and they most have been about like city building, or this is the first one that really feels like a Western shootout.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
That's purely all it is.
Yeah.
There's no other Western aspects to this one. There's no train heist. There's nothing like that. There might be some cards in the expansions that deal with some of that, but we haven't seen them. As far as the theme, I like the art. I mean, it's
Yeah, the art's good.
pretty
It
cool
is
looking.
good
The rolls are the kind of they're not the same kind of style of as the art on the cards. I like the art on the cards better than the roll cards actually.
Mhm.
And then there's an even different style on the actual character cards, which is kind of like a two-toned.
Right.
Like a wanted poster.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and so that's kind of neat too. I really like the theme of this game. I'm going to give this one, I think, a 7 too. As far as I think it's very thematic as far as the Western spaghetti Western shootout.
I agree. I think a 7 is a good score.
Actually, I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go with an 8 with the theme. I mean, it fits the theme well.
It does.
And it feels like you're in a shootout.
Mhm.
So theme wise, yeah. And
Well,
art, I'd say art and theme. I think it's an 8.
I can honestly say I've never been in a shootout, so I don't know if it really feels like that or not.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
We can take you to some places downtown if you like. Okay. As far as the rule book, there's 2 rule books in here, one in Italian and one in English.
And all the cards
we prefer
were
to use the one in English. Yeah.
But all the cards are
were
in
that way,
Italian
yeah.
and English as well.
Yeah, so the rules are super simple in this game, and it's all icon based. So you get a cheat sheet of all the icons, and that's really all you need. Is once you know the basics of the game, is this cheat sheet really is your guide. And I think it did a great job as far as referencing for the cards. The rule book is actually only 3 pages long. After that, it's expansion material.
But let's be realistic, though. I mean, they could have probably went a little bit smaller on the font to make it even less pages. I mean, it's barely. You almost need a microscope to read that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy.
The font is really.
Yes, definitely. We would need some kind of eye aid to try to read this. Yeah, we can. If my buddy Sam were here, it would probably be in that big a space, and the font would be even smaller.
And the background graphics actually make it harder to read too.
They do.
On some of
They
blends.
should have. I mean, personally, I
Now,
like
is
some
your
background
version-
graphics, but I feel like it could have maybe even been muted even more.
So this is the only version
To make
I've seen. Is your version's rule book different than that?
My version's rule book is different than
But
that.
the ones I've seen are like in boxes, and the cards are like that big as far as the decks. Not the cards, but the boxes.
Yeah.
And so the rules are even smaller than this.
With the expansion boxes, you get cards with the rules on them.
Oh, okay.
With the main box, you do get a booklet.
Yeah.
And I don't recall seeing the background images on those
Okay.
as distracting.
Yeah, that is kind of distracting. I know it also has no cover, which I always like to have covers on my rule books.
Mm-hmm.
This one just goes straight into the rules. I mean, it teaches the game effectively. It's just, I think it is kind of hard to read.
I think the saving grace is the cheat sheet cards.
Yeah.
I mean, that really is it, because I would have a hard time reading that with my eyes.
Yeah. So given the fact of the tiny print, even though it does effectively teach, I'd probably give it just a 7 on this. I mean, I think I've been going 7s across the board on this one so far. So why break trend?
Right. I think 7's a good score.
I think it should be actually a little lower, just because if you're somebody who already kind of gets overwhelmed with rule books, looking at that rule book, just seeing all that imagery behind it would make you even more overwhelmed with it, even though it's a small rule book. So I would say a 6.5 on that.
Okay. All right. So moving on to gameplay. So this is, like Robert mentioned, there's an aspect of this that's kind of like Werewolf. Everybody has a hidden role,
right?
Except for the sheriff. The sheriff, when they get dealt their card, they have to flip it up and reveal that they are the sheriff. In addition, you're going to get a character that is not hidden, that is going to tell you who you are and gives you a special ability, a perk that nobody else has. And it also has on there how much health you start the game with, which is also your card hand limit. So you'll get your roll, and then on the other side, you'll get a second roll, but you'll use it for the other side, which has bullets on it, and this marks your health meter. After that, then everybody gets a hand size starting hand based upon the number of bullets they got. The sheriff gets 1 bonus bullet because their roll is tougher because everybody's gunning for them. Well, not everybody. It depends on the number of players you have.
I wasn't gunning for you at the beginning.
At the beginning.
At the beginning, right. So the roles you can have are sheriff, which is you are the target, basically. You can have the deputies, whose role is to protect the sheriff. You can have the
Outlaws.
The outlaws who are trying to kill the sheriff, and if they manage to kill the sheriff, then they win. And you have the renegade, who basically is out to become the new sheriff, and their goal is to wait until everyone else loses and then defeat the sheriff at the end. So if they pull it off, if they're the last one alive with the sheriff and they kill the sheriff. So given that, then you're going to take your turn. You get to draw 2 cards from the deck on your turn to start the turn. Sheriff goes first. And then you can play as many cards as you want, with the one stipulation that the card that's a bang, which is a shooting action, you can only play 1 of those per turn. So you've got to choose your target. You can choose the target to your left or right directly.
And seating order is an effect to the range that you can shoot.
Right.
You only have a range of 1 in the beginning.
By default. But there are guns in the deck that will extend your range.
Which would have been great if I'd have got one.
So the whole idea is you're building up your tableau in front of you to improve your capabilities, but you're also trying to target the people you're trying to take out, whether it be outlaws or whether it be the sheriff. And even if you are an outlaw, you might take out the other outlaw to throw off suspicion and
to gain 3
exactly
cards.
You get a bonus. Yeah. You get 3 card bonus if you take out an outlaw. So there's perks for trying to do that, because you're hiding the fact that you are an outlaw if you take out other people and not the sheriff. Targeting the sheriff is a dead giveaway that you're an outlaw, and it's going to put a target on your back from the deputy and potentially even the renegade.
Right.
So
and if you're a deputy and you shoot the sheriff, you're just playing it all wrong.
Yeah.
You're a traitor.
So it's an interesting concept. The only problem I have with this is it's got player elimination, which is a big thing I hate. Absolutely hate it. And today it wasn't as big of a deal because the sheriff was the second one out, and it wasn't that long of a game, because the first turn I got blown up with a dynamite. But as far as the gameplay, it's fun as long as it's not a 7-player game and you're eliminated in like round 2. Right. And then you're going to sit there for an hour waiting for the game to finish. And I absolutely hate that. So it can be a really fun game if you play it and it doesn't last that long.
Or if you could stay in the game
or
for a while.
if you can stay in the game a while. But it can be brutal, and you can be knocked out and just be watching, and it's no fun then.
Right.
So it's hard to score this one because it can be great. It can be one of those experiences like you talk about afterwards, and like, oh, that was a great game when we did that. And I remember what happened there. But it can also be you talk about it for the wrong reasons. So given that, I'm kind of on the fence with this one. I think I'm at a 6.5 is where I'm at. I think it can be a lot of fun with the right people and with the right setting, and the fact that everything goes as according to plan. It can also go horribly wrong.
I'm going to go lower. I can't give it a score higher than Catan, so I'm going to go give it a 5, but only because there's not just that element, but there's also the luck element of if you don't get the right cards, you can't do a whole lot. Right. I was very limited in my range, so I wasn't able to shoot or do a whole lot. I was able to get to draw cards, woo, and that was it. And so I got to stay alive a while because I kept drawing cards to keep me alive, but that was the extent of what I could do, and I thought it was kind of boring. And so in that regards, if you got limited in 2 ways, where you can either get eliminated early or you're limited in what you're drawing, and so you can't play well, and other people got good range and you can't target them, I didn't care for it that much. So I'm going to give it a 5.
I agree with both of you on your ideas. It can be a very fun game, and then it can be a very boring game, and it is like up in the air. It's it's completely dependent upon your cards, upon who you're playing with. I've played this game many times, and so I would say...
Do your boys like the game?
My boys do like the game.
Do they?
Yeah, I have 2 boys, and my oldest, I think, likes it a little bit more than my younger boy.
Okay.
But I've played it with several different groups of people. But the elimination thing, I always have a hard time with elimination. Yeah. There's one game that I have no problem with elimination. That's Suro. This game, it has elimination. I've been eliminated early in the game, and I've sat around, and it's not great. So I think I'm going to actually agree with you, Robert, on the 5
Okay.
because there's just that aspect of it.
All right, well, that's our assessment of Bang. Come back again. We'll be doing reviews pretty much almost on a daily basis, or some kind of video. Sometimes we shake it up a bit, but mostly we do reviews because we got a really large collection we got to get through. But we'll have more content for you, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us along because you don't want to miss a single moment of it. We throw in some good, interesting ringers. We threw in like the Alien 1979. That was a fun one. I love that one. Check out that review. That was a lot of fun. So, make sure you follow along, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.